What is going on, guys? Football is more than a game. It's also a way of uniting players, coaches, and countless fans across the country. Sometimes football isn't all about the game itself. Throughout the years, we've seen teams and fans come together in difficult circumstances. And often the result is a true feel-good, heartwarming story. Here are the 10 most inspirational victories in NFL history. Number 10, Ravens send Ray Lewis out on top. Baltimore Ravens legend Ray Lewis suffered a torn triceps injury in Week 6 of the 2012 season against the Dallas Cowboys. That was supposed to be season-ending, but this is Ray Lewis we're talking about. A determined Lewis miraculously made his return for the start of the playoffs, before their wild-card game against the Indianapolis Colts. Lewis announced that he would retire after the playoffs. The Ravens rallied around the longtime face of their franchise. After dispatching the Colts, the Ravens shocked the top-seeded Denver Broncos in the mile-high miracle game, before defeating Tom Brady and the New England Patriots in the AFC Championship game. The Ravens then clashed with the powerhouse San Francisco 49ers in Super Bowl 47. Coincidentally, the 49ers were coached by Jim Harbaugh, the younger brother of Ravens head coach John Harbaugh.
The journey ends in 60 minutes. In 3.5 hours, that's when the journey ends. We ain't finished yet.
Baltimore's defense held off a ferocious second-half rally by the 49ers, performing one of the greatest goal line stands in NFL history en route to a 34-31 victory. Lewis got to retire on the highest of all possible notes, a Super Bowl champion.
Ray Lewis and the defense deliver and stop the 49ers. Baltimore Ravens are Super Bowl champions.
Number 9, this one's for John. In the twilight of his career, Denver Broncos quarterback John Elway carried the can't win the big one narrative. His Broncos lost 3 Super Bowl games, and they failed to win a single playoff game between 1992 and 96 seasons. Time was clearly running out for Elway, who entered his age 37 season in 1997, after blowing out the Jacksonville Jaguars in the wildcard round. The Broncos still required 2 more road victories to reach the Super Bowl. Denver upset the top-seeded Kansas City Chiefs in the divisional round, however. The Magic was supposed to run out against the Pittsburgh Steelers in the AFC Championship game, but Mike Shanahan's squad continued to play inspired football, and they left Three Rivers Stadium with a 24-21 victory. Up next, the Broncos faced the heavily favored Green Bay Packers in Super Bowl 32. The Pack were led by league MVP Brett Favre, and they just happened to be the defending champions. So the Broncos weren't supposed to have much of a chance. He only had 12 completions for 123 yards, 0 touchdowns, and an interception. But his helicopter run was one of the most iconic plays in Super Bowl history. And running back Terrell Davis carried the offense with 157 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. Davis scored the go-ahead touchdown with less than 2 minutes to go, and the Broncos defense forced a turnover on downs to ice the game. With that, Elway was finally a world champion after years of playoff heartbreak and misery. During the Super Bowl presentation, Broncos owner Pat Bowlen uttered one of the most iconic and emotional soundbites in NFL lore.
There's only 4 words. This one's for John.
When the Broncos won Super Bowl 50 18 years later, Elway, now the team president, returned the favor by screaming, "This one's for Pat." Now that's heartwarming. Number 8, Washington opens the Ron Rivera era with a victory. The Washington football team hired Ron Rivera to take over as their new head coach in 2020. The franchise was dealing with a handful of controversial scandals off the field, and owner Dan Snyder turned to Rivera in hopes of fixing the culture of his team. Before the 2020 season started, Rivera announced that he was diagnosed with squamous cell carcinoma, but the devoted and determined Rivera decided to coach rather than step away while he underwent therapy. Washington opened its 2020 season with a home tilt against the Philadelphia Eagles. Rivera, who needed to receive an IV at halftime, watched his team fall behind 17-0 in the second quarter. But they rallied for 27 unanswered points to open up the Riverboat Ron era with a victory. The front seven paced the way with 8 sacks on Carson Wentz.
Over the middle, it's caught for the touchdown. Gives to Barber right up the middle. Barber! Wentz steps in trouble. Sack ball is looped. Picked up by Washington.
An inspiring and very moving start to Ron's tenure in DC indeed. Number 7, Colts are Chuck Strong for Chuck Pagano. Following a 1-year stint as the Baltimore Ravens defensive coordinator, Chuck Biondo was named the new head coach of the Indianapolis Colts in 2012. The same year, they drafted Andrew Luck with the first overall pick, after cutting ties with franchise star Peyton Manning. After coaching the first 3 games, however, Biondo had to step away after being diagnosed with leukemia. Offensive coordinator Bruce Arians took over as head coach, beginning in the Colts' Week 5 home game against the Green Bay Packers. The Colts played with heavy hearts throughout, as Chuck Strong signs and shirts filled up Lucas Oil Stadium. Luck put the league on notice this by going toe-to-toe with Aaron Rodgers, the reigning league MVP, in a shootout for the ages. After trailing 21-3 at halftime, the Colts rallied for 19 unanswered points to snag a 22-21 lead. A Rodgers to James Jones TD pass put the Pack up by 5 with 4.5 minutes to go, but Luck got the ball back and put together a drive for the ages, which ended with a 4-yard touchdown pass to Reggie Wayne.
Drive. You know, one thing that I'm so impressed with Andrew Luck is that he does not turn the football over in the red zone.
No.
Look at Reggie. That's what a lot of young quarterbacks.
The Colts succeeded on the 2-point conversion attempt to increase the lead to 3. Rodgers quickly moved Green Bay into field goal range, but Mason Crosby's field goal missed wide left as the Colts escaped with a huge win for Coach Chuck.
Bulldog.
Has the leg from 51 yards out, but look at that snap.
I don't know. That's
Not even close.
reminds me of like I said, my
1 month later, doctors announced that his cancer was in remission. Biondo returned to the sidelines in Week 17 against the Houston Texans, leading the Colts to victory as they finished with an 11-5 record, earning a playoff spot in what was such an emotional and inspiring 2012 season. Number 6, Eric Berry returns to Atlanta, leads Kansas City to victory. Late in the 2014 season, Kansas City Chiefs All-Pro safety Eric Berry announced that he was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. Berry had to miss the remainder of the year, but he returned and suited up for all 16 games in 2015, leading Kansas City to the playoffs and earning Comeback Player of the Year honors. Berry, a native of Fairburn, Georgia, made a return to his home state when the Chiefs visited the Atlanta Falcons in Week 13 of the 2016 season. This game was heavily emotional for Berry, because in his last visit to Atlanta, the superstar safety had gone to Emory University for chemotherapy. Berry's teammates rallied around him, and with his family on hand to watch, he put together perhaps the greatest individual performance of his career. Berry recorded a pick-6 off 2016 League MVP Matt Ryan in the second quarter, but his best play of the game occurred when KC needed it most.
Ryan throwing, intercepted, picked off.
That's right, he recorded a 2-point conversion attempt by Ryan for 2 points, which held up as the game-winning play. Kansas City won 29-28, and they went on to win their first AFC West Division title in 6 years. Berry admitted that he shed some tears before, during, and after the game. What a moving day it was for Berry, as well as for his family and the Chiefs organization. Number 5, Oakland Raiders win it all for Al Davis. The Raiders franchise wouldn't be where it is now without the late Al Davis. He coached the franchise for 3 years from 1963 to 65, and he became the principal owner in 1973. The Raiders won 3 Super Bowls under Davis, whose just win baby motto is entrenched in football lore forever. Davis passed away at the age of 82 on October 8, 2011, one day before the Raiders' Week 5 road game against the Houston Texans. The entire Raiders team took to the field with heavy hearts, remembering the simple message Davis left them with. Just win, baby. Oakland had a 25-20 lead with just 7 seconds remaining. The Texans had the ball at the 5-yard line, needing a touchdown to win the game, but the Raiders wouldn't allow it. On the final play, Texans quarterback Matt Schaub scrambled to the left and looked for Jacoby Jones in the end zone, but Michael Huff picked it off to seal the victory. It was hard to keep dry eyes when the camera cut to head coach Hugh Jackson and Davis' son, Mark Davis.
Shot throws, intercepted. Michael Huff. After the passing of Al Davis yesterday.
The most amazing part of that final play is the fact that the Raiders only had 10 men on the field. This prompted some folks to say that Davis was the 11th man, in spirit, helping the Raiders secure the win. Number 4, Brett Favre's Monday night dominance following father's death. Brett Favre's father, Irvin, died unexpectedly at the age of 58 on December 21, 2003, one day before the Green Bay Packers' Week 16 road game against the Oakland Raiders. Favre decided to play anyway, explaining after the game that his dad would have wanted him to. Before kickoff, Favre was welcomed by cheers and ovation from the Raiders fans.
They call it the offense tonight at Oakland. I got a standing ovation from the fans. That doesn't happen.
Nobody knew what to expect from Favre, a 3-time MVP and Super Bowl champion. As it turned out, the emotions inspired Favre and his teammates to put on a performance for the ages against the Raiders.
To last in rushing defense. And Favre throws. And Favre going deep into double coverage. And it is...
Favre finished the night with 399 passing yards and 4 touchdowns, leading Green Bay to an easy 41-7 victory. Number 3, Torrey Smith leads Ravens to win after brother's death. Torrey Smith's 19-year-old brother, Tevin Chris Jones, tragically died at the age of 19 in a motorcycle accident on September 23, 2012. The Baltimore Ravens were hosting the New England Patriots on Sunday Night Football that same day, and Smith decided that he was going to play.
Receiver Torrey Smith playing just hours after his younger brother Tevin Jones died in a motorcycle accident.
The entire Ravens team rallied around Smith, who tuned in one of the greatest performances of his career. Smith, then a 23-year-old sophomore, caught 6 passes for 127 yards and 2 touchdowns, helping the Ravens erase a 9-point deficit as Justin Tucker kicked the game-winning field goal.
Well, he showed up, man. He showed up for his brothers. You've seen him catch balls inside. When you see him go outside, you see him get deep.
Now it's the rookie Justin Tucker from Texas. Is that?
The Ravens went on to win the Super Bowl that year, thanks in large part to Smith's gutsy performance and constant heroics when they needed it most. Number 2, Kwon Alexander paces Bucs to victory after brother's murder. Kwon Alexander's younger brother, Broderick Taylor II, was tragically killed at the age of 17 on October 30th, 2015. Alexander, then a 21-year-old rookie for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, decided he would play in the team's Week 8 contest against the Atlanta Falcons. This game took place just 2 days after his brother's tragic death. Alexander put on a heartfelt and inspiring effort in the wake of the horrific events. He paced the defense with an interception, 11 tackles, and a forced fumble that he also recovered.
They were up 3-0, but Julio just has Kwon Alexander just stripped this thing. Thursday night game in New Orleans. Ryan with a defender at his feet.
The Buccaneers won 23-20 in overtime, and Alexander posted a tribute to his brother on Twitter after the moving win. Number 1, New Orleans Saints returned to the Superdome. The city of New Orleans was devastated by Hurricane Katrina in 2005. More than 1,800 people tragically died in the catastrophe, and the city suffered more than $125 billion in damage. The Saints were unable to play their 2005 home games at the Louisiana Superdome. They had to use different venues instead. Their Week 1 home game against the New York Giants actually took place at Giants Stadium. They played 3 home games in San Antonio and 4 at Tiger Stadium, home of the LSU Tigers. The Saints finished the year with a 3-13 record. They hired Sean Payton as their new head coach, and former San Diego Chargers quarterback Drew Brees wound up signing a 6-year, $60 million deal in free agency. They drafted USC running back Reggie Bush with the number 2 selection. Everything was looking up for the Saints again. They received clearance to return to the Superdome for the 2006 season, with the first home game taking place on Monday Night Football against the Atlanta Falcons in Week 3. You could have made a Hollywood movie out of this night. Before we continue, let's just show you the electrifying atmosphere.
Saints had hope. Hope the city of New Orleans could latch on to. Fast forward to Week 3, Monday night. The 2-0 Saints welcome Mike Vick and the Atlanta Falcons.
Well, the city of New Orleans didn't have to wait long to celebrate the first big play of the game, as it took the Saints less than 2 minutes to open the scoring.
Look out! Right through! A kick block by Steve Gleason. It is
That was only the beginning of a very emotional and moving night in New Orleans. The Saints won the game 23-3, and they wound up winning the NFC South Division. They went all the way to the NFC Championship game before losing to the Chicago Bears. But 3 years later, the Saints defeated the Indianapolis Colts in Super Bowl 44 to complete the ultimate comeback story. That journey to the top all began right here at the Superdome in 2006, after an entire city came together and united around their football team following a horrific tragedy. What other inspirational victories should we have included on our list? Join me in the comment section below. Make sure to follow myself and TPS on social media. We post great content all the time. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, run everything. Go find us. Go do all that. Of course, if you like this video, it takes 1 click right down below. And of course, subscribe to TPS. We post videos every day. Every day's a new video. Of course, thank you so much for watching. I'm Jason Biondo. I'll see you next time.
my knee.